So I did not include the front garden in the last garden update I did, and that's because she's looking a little worse for wear. I just really did not anticipate the level of shade that it's getting. The tree is getting bigger, my truck is blocking a lot of the sunlight, and I think I really should have put in a lot of, I need more shade loving plants in the front here. These did great at the beginning. Something came in and destroyed my rose mallow, so I did let it go just to go to seed. My zinnias are starting to get a bit of mildew, as you can see on there. These little cayenne peppers are doing all right. The nasturtiums seem to be pretty happy in their little spot here. Snapdragons. This thing's actually done better than I had anticipated it would. And a few of the others at the back there. My hollyhock's ready to go. Pop that out. Got my 4 o'clock, some zinnias. But just right in here, once my poppies left, nothing really kind of took over the place. So back to the drawing board. My cannas are doing all right. I did plant some of the smaller ones out here, and they're just starting to bloom now, but they're quite a bit smaller. They just do not get enough sun out here. So yeah, I'll be back to the drawing board next year. I do want to kind of stick to annuals here. Aside from, I already have a few perennials. I do have a ton of bulbs that come up in the spring. In here, so I have a ton of tulips and crocuses and some daffodils. In the back I have the big allium, so I do have to be mindful of that, and I would prefer not to put any more perennials over on this section if I can avoid it. I do have the sweet williams. Hopefully they will be coming back again next year, we shall see. And the hollyhock should probably be coming back again. And the rest of everything else in here, except for this lily here and a few lilies over here on the side, are all annuals. So I'm going to be looking at some more annuals that I can put in here that are going to be loving the shade. So I think I will definitely be starting a lot of those impatiens that I featured in my plant of the week, or I'm featuring in my plant of the week. Don't want to give it away. So I do think I will be planting a lot more impatiens. I'm looking for seeds for lobelia, and I am interested in a few other shade loving annuals. I did have a lot of hostas in here that I pulled out just because they took over the beds, so I don't really want to throw any more hostas in here. The sedum seems to do fine, even though it doesn't get a ton of light. Snapdragons are still going, but yeah, I definitely want something a little bit bigger of an impact. I just didn't know how big these were supposed to get. These apparently are supposed to get like 10 to 12. They can get, no, what was it, 8? These can get like 8 feet across. So I was a little nervous having, 3 of them in here, but they just did not get enough sun. They're just tucked back in there. And the problem is this thing grows up so fast that they're in full shade pretty much most of the day. And if they do get any sun, like we're sitting at, it's like 2 o'clock right now, and they haven't seen sun at all day. So that was a bad placement on my part. I'm always overly optimistic, thinking this area is going to get a lot more sun than it does. But I do have some Guatemala peppers and some cayenne peppers that are coming up. And it's been okay. Like, there have been times when it was just absolutely beautiful, when the tulips were blooming, and then when the rose mallows were all going, and the poppies. But I kind of have a bit of a lull right here, which I don't really want to plant anything new right now, being as we are at the end of the season. But I think it's important to take stock of your gardens at this time of the year, and take notes of things you can improve on, what you want to do differently next year, and just get some new ideas. And save those seeds. Make sure you're saving the seeds off stuff too, right? This almond seal has gone nuts. I think I actually might take some of that and put it up at the top of the hill come spring. But yeah, these cannas, normally they get bigger. So I don't know if there was just a problem this year. We had enough rain. You would think that they would have done better. So who knows? This planter, we can keep coming back to this poor planter. Actually, I think it's doing really well. It looks pretty good. I cut it way back because it had just taken over. I overplanted it earlier in the season, and I think that really caused it to crowd out. Like, you can't even see. There are purple wave petunias in here, and then the white wave petunias, and they just get lost in it. And the sweet potato vine's just finally getting a chance to do its thing. So I think next year I might use these again, and the sweet potato vine, but I'm definitely not going to overfill it like I did this year. Give a little. And then this pretty little guy is doing so good. These beautiful begonias. I'm so happy with them. Really loving the begonias this year. So I'm definitely going to be planting, I think, some more begonias, probably in the front as well, in the front flower bed. Maybe some of these, and this, a nice pop of color. And then the planter that survived the storm. She's doing all right. She's taking it all in stride. It's that time where you kind of want to look over your gardens and make note of things that you really liked you liked the placement, you liked how they performed, and things that just didn't work very good for you. So whether you want to even grow them again next year, or if you just realize that you need to do it in a different spot. And look at the garden now, and you know, each season as different things are blooming, we should be taking note, like when the tulips are up, ooh, you know, where do I have a place that looks like it needs a little something. And then just throughout the year, just kind of checking on it, making sure that you have a nice full season of blooms. So here's a quick picture of how the garden was looking as the blooms were just starting to come up. This was the beginning of May, I think, end of April, and we were starting to get some blooms opening up. I put in quite a few new bulbs last fall. I think I put in like 60 new tulips last fall, and they all seem to come up and do really, really well. I did bury some chicken wire on top of them when I buried them in the fall to keep the squirrels from destroying them, and it worked really well. And some of these tulips were just absolutely beautiful. It was a mixed pack, and so I had no idea what anything was going to look like, and I just planted them wherever I wanted. So, circle of life, as the tulips start to fade, the allium and the irises are starting to come into bloom, and it looks like we're going to be seeing some peonies really soon. Some of those buds are just about opening up. My allium are just starting to fill out, and then these Globemaster alliums will be opening soon, and I cannot wait to see those this year. They're going to be amazing. Each individual flower was absolutely beautiful, but altogether it was just a hot mess. So I am totally rethinking and redoing the front garden next year. Stay tuned.